On today's show, the story behind the outdoor theme. We discover the history behind Minnesota Bound's iconic theme song. Plus, a sight and sound of spring in Minnesota. Yet a song that might be about gone. And we help you get started making maple syrup.
Minnesota Bound, presented by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's episode. You know, each week we start out the show with our so recognizable Minnesota Bound theme song.
My dad, Ron Shera, recently sat down with the composer to talk about how the theme was created and how it became, and still is, a Minnesota anthem.
For 30 years, the melody soared as the loons sang and as the scenes rolled from Minnesota's north to south. Since 1995, the Minnesota Bound theme song has opened a window to the great outdoors every Sunday night, bringing you stories from the Boundary Waters wilderness to the southern prairies to the state's bluff country along the Mississippi River. Over that time, Ron and Raven gave away to new hosts, Laura and Bill. Yet, the theme song has stayed the same, a constant thread stitching together hundreds and hundreds of stories.
The show concept was storytelling because Minnesota is full of people who fish, hunt, canoe, camp, never-ending supply of good stories about interesting people.
But ask anyone who's heard it, it's more than our theme song. It's become a memory trigger.
The viewer's ear picks that up and they don't even have to see the words Minnesota Bound. They say, oh, that's Minnesota Bound.
It was catchy, it just caught, right? It's been the soundtrack of Minnesota Bound ever since.
A Northwoods heartbeat, and the music doesn't just start the show, it is the show's identity.
We've had people say that they fall asleep to Minnesota Bound, and we take that as a compliment. It's just soothing, it's calming, it's feel-good television, and I think that song represents that.
Over the years, I get the question a lot, how did you come up with the Minnesota Bound theme music?
You're the guy that wrote the theme music to Minnesota Bound.
That's what I heard.
So I remember going to Dale and said, I need some music for Minnesota Bound. I want something like the feeling of Canadian sunset.
Dale Minton, a local composer and musician, owned Minton Music Studio back in the mid-1990s.
You started talking about the show, started talking about what your vision was of the music. And it was a Canadian something. We had 2 sessions. Remember, we had the original, and that was harmonica and acoustic guitar. Country-based instrumentation. Then the second session. Let's just keep the theme, but let's expand it. So we invited saxophone into the mix. And then we did get a fiddle player into the mix. And we got some regular electric guitar and some electronic stuff.
So he came up with what we have today, and it was perfect. Canadian sunset. I wanted the feeling of nature, of grandeur, and that's what we got. Minnesota Bound has been a big hit, but your role in that gets overlooked. Nobody remembers the guy that wrote the music necessarily, but we wanted to remember you.
Well, thank you, because I get reminded of you every night.
It was a feeling more than anything, and I think Dale hit that.
The original sheet music of Minnesota Bound has stood the test of time. So we thought we'd celebrate our enduring soundtrack, and we invited the Boom Island String Quartet to play. And where else? Amid woods and water. After all, every great television show deserves a great theme song.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Connecticut Water Treatment Systems, Star Bank, Rapid Marine family of dealerships, and by Leech Lake Area of Tourism.
Now, Travis, you're just house sitting. You can use my Connecticut water for the plants, but that's all, and behave yourself.
Have a great trip and catch some fish for me. It's so crystal clear. Oh, come on, buy a vowel. Don't worry, girl, we'll get you all cleaned up.
Travis!
Ron! Home so soon?
Forgot my lucky lure. You simply can't leave my Connecticut alone, can you?
Connecticut, even house sitters can't resist worry-free water.
Ron Schera here. I've mentioned before that Star Bank is our bank at Ron Schera Productions. Now it's fair to ask, why Star Bank? Let's count the ways. First, Star Bank is owned by a Minnesota family with Minnesota employees. They know us, we know them. When you call Star Bank, an employee answers, not a recording. Located in 11 Minnesota communities, Star Bank provides all the services a bank should provide. So now you know why we chose Star Bank. We like a bank that cares.
Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Nothing beats memories made on the water. Time to make your own. Start now with a visit to Rapid Marine's family of dealerships, your ultimate resource for Lund boats. Rapid Marine sells more Lund boats than any other dealership in the country. Depend on inventory and expertise and the best service around. A great selection of pre-owned boats too. Visit Rapid Marine's 4 locations or check us out online at rapidmarine.com.
Are you ready for your next summer adventure? Don't drag your feet. Check into paradise at legendary Leech Lake. Leech has built a reputation for amazing family vacations. Over 195 miles of shoreline and some of the best fishing in Minnesota. Activities for the whole family, too. Parks and trails for hiking and biking, shopping, dining, and gaming await you as well in Walker. There are over 30 family resorts and hotels waiting for you this summer at Leech Lake. So drop into summer and book your vacation today at leechlakeoutdoors.com.
We all love the signs of spring here in Minnesota, with the drum of a woodpecker to the return of songbirds. But Ron Schera went in search of one songbird that's becoming harder to find.
Long ago, on Minnesota's country roads, a spring song often heard, tweeted along our roadsides in farm country, was the melodious voice of the western meadowlark. President Teddy Roosevelt once said, "The meadowlark was among the most attractive singers to which I have ever listened." Today, however, it's a song rarely heard in Minnesota. Why the silence? The answer, simple. Meadowlarks are disappearing. Over the last 50 years, meadowlark populations in Minnesota have declined more than 90%. There's a reason, of course.
We plowed up the prairies, we converted it to corn and soybeans.
When the grasslands, habitat for meadowlarks, slowly went under the plow, well, the bird's population declined as well.
We know, the science has told us, grassland birds have declined more than any other group of birds in North America. And meadowlarks, especially in kind of the eastern grasslands, have probably declined more than most other grassland birds.
Are they all gone now? To find out, we went on a hunt for meadowlarks with a volunteer guide, Scott Gloop, from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service.
There's several. They're out here. Well, we're currently in western Minnesota, north of the Big Stone Refuge area. And we're in an area here where there's still a significant amount of grassland left. It's a good place to find western meadowlarks if you're looking for them in Minnesota.
Find the grasslands and, sure enough, here and there, you'll find a western meadowlark.
I don't know if you can hear it, but we have one putting on a show for us right now, calling just to the left of me. I see a dead branch sticking up out there and there's a bird on it, so I'm wondering if there's a western. Yep, I just heard it again.
While the sight and sounds of a meadowlark are a day brightener, our guide knows the rest of the story.
In the state of Minnesota, there's been breeding bird surveys being conducted for a little over 60 years. And if you look at the statistics from those surveys that have been conducted, there has been a 98% decline in western meadowlarks in the state of Minnesota in the last 50 years. That's a very sad statistic.
But the story doesn't end there. Other Minnesota grassland birds, such as bobolinks, also are in serious decline.
It's really a treat to have all these bobolinks here. They're another kind of iconic grassland species. They rely on grassland for breeding habitat. Obviously, they like this area very much, as we have a lot of male bobolinks flying around us right now calling. So we were successful. We found western meadowlarks.
On a piece of prairie this day, a springtime reminder of sights and sounds we used to see and hear.
The wind's gonna start picking up. I just heard another western. As I mentioned earlier, people my age and older quite commonly ask me, where did the meadowlark go? I don't hear that from the younger generations. And that's because they haven't experienced it. They don't know. They don't have that memory. That's very sad, because how can you care about something that you don't know about? That's a question that we get a lot, is who cares, or why should I care? Well, the meadowlark is kind of again, it's like the canary in the coal mine.
Today our coal mine looks rather bleak, a black landscape mile after mile. You can argue we grow our food here, but you can also wonder if we plowed too much. But there is hope out there as we slowly learn to protect, preserve, and increase our grassland acres. But in the meantime, we kept plowing. We plowed until the song of the meadowlark in Minnesota is seldom heard anymore, blowing in the wind.
Still to come, the story of the moon. But first, we help you celebrate spring with a sweet Minnesota tradition.
Closed captioning provided by Premier Marine.
Every day at Premier, we're building something special. A place to discover, to connect, and where memories are made. That's because at Premier, we're not just building the world's best pontoons. We're building your pontoon. Visit your local dealer today. Premier, we go beyond.
Flow aluminum dock systems are made to bring time at the lake to a whole new level. You can create any layout you want and accessorize it for comfort and fun. They're strong, stable, safe, and they add a beautiful touch to your shoreline that will last for a very long time. Maybe it's time to join the thousands of other families that have turned their dock into a shoreline paradise. Maybe it's time for a Flow.
Hi everybody, Ron Shera here. Aloha! Aloha means you're invited to join me for a Hawaii adventure. We're going to go to lots of places: Waikiki Beach, Pearl Harbor, Volcanoes National Park, all arranged by Colette, including your hotel, meals, flights, all arranged for you. So join me. We're going to leave October 22nd. So here's what you have to do. Call Colette at 800-581-8942 or go to mnbound.com. I'm ready. Aloha.
Hi, I'm Millie. Yup, that Millie, star of the screen, queen of the field, and a state fair icon. Most days, my schedule is packed. Chasing birds in the morning, fan appearances in the afternoon, and did I mention I host my very own TV show? People love me. A schedule this glam takes some serious fuel. That's why I eat Nutrisource. Their commitment to quality keeps me healthy, energized, and my coat? Softer and shinier than when I was a puppy. What's inside matters, and Nutrisource keeps me feeling like the star I am.
maple syrup is a time-honored tradition for many in the Midwest, and if you've ever had the desire to tap a maple tree in your backyard, I'm here at Three Rivers Park District with Mary to show you how to get started. Hi, Mary.
Hi, Laura. Welcome to the Sugar Shack.
I'm so excited to try this today. Now, is this something that takes a lot of equipment?
No, there's just a couple things that you need, and most are pretty easy to find. So, first of all, you'll need a spile or spout that you can put into the tree where the sap is going to drip out. You'll need some kind of drill. We use this brace and bit hand drill. You can also use a power drill. Then you'll need a bucket or a bag, something to collect that sap in.
This is an interesting tool, stick.
This is a knowledge tool. So this is something that we're gonna use so that we know which tree is the right tree to tap.
So I'm looking around here. Most of us identify maple trees by their leaves. So how do we know which tree is a maple?
Our knowledge tool is where it comes in handy. So we can see it in this, like where the branches are coming off of here. These two are going off in exactly opposite or the same spot on the branch. So that means it's opposite branching. That's what maples have. So that's a good first clue. The bark can be another good clue. Most, or a lot of them have kind of this rough bark. Some call it bacon bark.
How do you know it's the right time to tap the maple tree?
So springtime is the only time, actually, and very specifically within that, it needs to be freezing at night, or below freezing at night, and above freezing or warm during the day. And that freezing and thawing is what causes the sap to start moving in the tree.
Is there a certain spot you should tap the tree?
Any height is fine, whatever's comfortable for your body. You do want to get the drill at slightly up angle, and that's just going to help the sap drip out a little bit easier. And we're going to drill in about 2.5 inches, which gets us into the right part of the tree where the sap should be flowing.
Is it time for the spile?
It's time for the spile. Can you just stick that in there for me? Just a snug fit. All right, so we are going to just gently tap that in so it's nice and snug. Right on the hook. And then we listen. Best spring sound there is. Yes. Sap's looking nice and clear. Looks like good amount. We can take this back to the Sugar Shack. The next step is to cook our sap on the evaporator down into syrup.
And this looks kind of like a professional setup. What if you're just starting?
For someone just starting out, you can do it over the campfire with like a big turkey roasting pan, or if you have a propane stove, you can do it over that. Main things you want to do is start outside, because a lot of steam is leaving.
Yes, I'm getting a facial right now, actually.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is nice.
And then second thing is you want a lot of surface area so that all that steam can escape.
So how do you know when this is ready for the stovetop to start cooking the maple syrup?
So this is our fancy cup. We're just gonna scoop up some of the cooked sap in there. And then this is what we call a hydrometer. As it starts to float up, that's a good time where you might be ready to bring it inside. Once you get inside, another couple hours maybe until you're floating right at this little red line.
And here we have the final product.
The best part.
And if people want to learn more, you guys offer classes here.
Yep, we have classes for all ages. Just go check out threeriversparks.org and everything should be on there.
All right, Mary, cheers to our hard work today.
Cheers.
Minnesota Bound is brought to you by Flow Docks and Lifts, Nutrisource, Visit Red Wing, Minnesota, and by Totem Resorts, the premier destination for world-class fishing.
It's time for Ron Scherer to share a story about our closest celestial neighbor. To understand is to look up at the night sky.
On clear nights, we can look up and see it. Every night, the moon. It's our closest celestial neighbor. Forever, we have been in awe or mystified, or both, by the moon. Fly me to the moon. Yes, we sing about the moon. We spoon under the moon. We wonder about the moon. Is it made of cheese? Hey diddle diddle, a cat in the fiddle, Mother Goose. Did a cow jump over the moon? No, we know better now. On July 20th, 1969, U.S. astronaut Neil Armstrong set foot on the moon, and he didn't find any Ellsworth cheese curds.
The surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder.
Yet our moon fascination remains. Moon phases or shapes in the night sky intrigue us, although they are just moon shadows. For example, the moon doesn't generate its own light, it merely reflects the sun's light, which means a full moon is a full reflection. No matter, it's said, a full moon makes some folks crazy, acting like a lunatic. Well, that's interesting. The word lunatic comes from the Roman goddess of the moon, Luna. Get it? Lunatic. Don't ask me why, but we've named our full moons. For example, in January, it's the wolf moon. May is the flower moon. Every October, the hunter's moon will rise, sometimes called the harvest moon. Native Americans called it the falling leaves moon. Why? In October, what do leaves do? The moon actually impacts us in many ways that aren't crazy. For example, the moon's own gravitational pull from 238,000 miles away causes tides, moving water in and out from shore, especially noticeable in oceans. Sometimes the full moon passes between the sun and the earth. It's called a total solar eclipse and occurs roughly twice a year, but each time is seen in a small part of the world. Get this, if a total solar eclipse passed you overhead recently, it won't happen again for up to 410 years. Yikes. The moon and fish have a relationship too. Saltwater anglers must know when high tides and low tides occur because the changes in water levels impact fish and fishing, of course. Some anglers believe the best fishing times occur between the new and full moons. A man named John Alden Knight in 1926 created a lunar calendar that forecasts best fishing when the moon is overhead or directly below your position on Earth. To this day, many anglers religiously follow what's known as the Solinar tables that predict the best fishing times.
There you go, there you go, there you go.
Some anglers believe the tables improve their luck, while others figure the best time to go fishing is when you can. Then, if you don't get a bite, just look up and complain to the man in the moon. Yes, there is a man's face on the moon, if you use lots of imagination. The best you can do is shoot for the moon. When you shoot for the moon, you're going for success or higher goals. Good advice. Just don't shoot the man in the moon.
Okay, one more fact for you. NASA says temps on the moon can get to 250 degrees Fahrenheit and can also drop to 208 below zero.
You would probably still winter camp in that temperature.
Not in my comfort zone.
Well, that about does it for us. We hope to see you back here next week.
In the meantime, Millie, what do we always say? Remember to introduce a kid to the great outdoors.
Transportation provided by Premier Transportation. Call 1-800-899-7433.